Scream tore through the air as panicked, asking why this was happening, while the terrified person beside him cried out in anguish. Walked away from the collapsed tower in triumph, leaving stunned onlookers behind in disbelief. Flames curled around as he stood with newfound strength, declaring that he had refined his martial master's will twice and that his mental power might have broken through level 6. Focused deeply, guiding his energy as his martial technique shifted into a new form. Energy gathered in his palm as he prepared to push his martial mastery to the next level. Vibrant aura surrounded, while he considered the possibility of ascending to godhood through martial arts. Someone waved excitedly and called for it to come over. A boisterous friend congratulated on his martial arts breakthrough and eagerly asked about his plan to visit other universities. Asked for a cab to the 6th St. Martial University, and the cheerful driver immediately agreed to take him. A red headbanded companion revealed a surprise, leaving staring in astonishment. Brended through the crowded streets, urgently trying to escape whatever was chasing him. Playful Tug startled, leaving him confused by the sudden teasing. Waved to his companions with excitement and urged them to follow him. Told the driver to keep up with the car ahead, sensing that the destination mattered. The driver, confused, asked whether something was happening at the university. Announced that they had arrived to witness the birth of a dynasty, leaving the man beside him baffled. The crowd erupted with excitement, pointing and shouting as it approached. Someone pointed toward the figure in the distance and cried out that it was him. Stood with a firearm in hand and made a bold declaration that drew everyone's attention. The crowd watched as a dominant figure stepped forward, marking a pivotal moment, praised the impressive procession while a worried onlooker asked what they should do next. Faced the questioner calmly and answered that he had come to challenge the tower. Eyes glowed as he questioned what purpose he had in such an overwhelming situation. Gestured for the confused person to follow him along the path he had chosen. The glowing announcement confirmed successful tower challenge and new record, sending the crowd into thunderous cheers. Eared up as he reflected on his situation and resigned himself to letting things unfold. Achievement banners filled the cosmic scene, proudly displaying his record-breaking scores. Strode across the wooden floor with clear purpose. The majestic university building rose ahead, drawing forward with determination and hope. Walked toward the gathered crowd with confidence, attracting attention at every step. Energy erupted as braced against the attack, recognizing the aggressor as the devil of 7th Saint. Water splashed around as he stood before the shocked onlookers and asked whether they knew where they were. Declared that he had come to challenge the tower, making it clear he was ready for the trial. A proud martial artist in a blue cloak announced his title and lineage, commanding the crowd's attention. Tightened his grip on his sword and declared that he would become famous in a single moment. Raised his sword toward the unseen opponent and insisted that anyone seeking permission had to ask the sword first. On a jagged ice platform, focused intensely, ready to release his power. Water energy burst from his hands, stunning the watching crowd. Stood on the crystalline surface with his sword in hand, ready to claim a powerful title. Powerful presence surged, shocking both observers. One realized had condensed his martial master's will, while the other could barely grasp what it meant. Smiled and confidently predicted that would enter the martial master realm within 10 years. Faced the smug blade wielder, who asked whether he understood the heritage of an old martial university. Snowflakes swirled around as he sensed the martial master's will and reacted in surprise. Raised the feat of condensing a martial master's will at such a young age. His rival flared with anger and vowed to freeze him into a block of ice. His shards whirled around the confident fighter as he questioned the power of his opponent's ice martial arts will. Smirked through the flames and taunted the onlookers for their weakness. Explosion rocked the area and threw everything into chaos, leaving wide-eyed with surprise. A menacing figure lifted a flaming sword toward who stood his ground. Blazing sword and script shone with overwhelming heat and brilliance, leaving him struggling to understand its power. Flames swallowed the remains of ice domain, scorching the air and leaving him stunned. Gripped the sword tightly, anxiety clear on his face. Walked toward the kneeling figure with open arrogance, remarking that if they were in his batch, they would only ever be second. The cloaked observer assessed the promising martial artist and judged that he could become a martial saint within 5 years. A curious voice asked how he felt about the challenge ahead. Stood with a pen in hand, wondering whether he had entered the first Saint Martial Tower. Discussion turned to his failed attempt to stop, proving that his martial will was not enough. Reflected on his victory over and wondered how many moves it had truly taken. The woman struggled to believe that even half a move could matter so much in this situation. Stared in shock and asked the unseen speaker what they meant by halves. Manifested his martial will, his fiery determination dominating the space around him. Sat on the floor, stunned by the news that something had melted. A horrific sight unfolded before, leaving him shaken and horrified. A worried woman asked the hesitant man whether they should still try to stop the one threatening them. Lay on the ground in frustration, grappling with the impossible challenge ahead. The woman clasped her hands tightly, fighting to control her frustration. Held his sword before the looming shadow figures, ready to make his ambition clear. Sudden appearance left the other young man bitter, regretting how close he had been to graduation. A supportive woman advised the distressed young man to stop overthinking it. The group reacted in astonishment to breaking news about, calling the announcement unbelievable and insane as others listened in. Stood triumphantly before the captivated crowd, displaying a poster of his exceptional martial achievements. Zombies snarled in front of a vast shadowed structure, filling the scene with dread. A blue window glowed through the fence, casting mysterious light into the night. A radiant long-haired figure reached out to reassure, who studied her with curiosity. A glowing long-haired figure hovered before, illuminating the floating pages as he stared in awe. A holographic figure appeared beside, and he asked T to bring up his life record. Rested his chin on his hand and wondered whether he could achieve sainthood in this life. Looked away uneasily, reflecting on how uncomfortable he felt about showing off. reveled in the ruthless satisfaction of crushing a powerful rival. The older man cheered before the digital backdrop and joyfully announced that he had become a martial saint. Martial arts prodigy focused on reaching the 12th level as fiery energy surged around him, reflecting on the life that had shaped him. He stood over his defeated opponent, flames lighting his conflicted expression as he processed the shocking victory. The glowing red tablet caught his attention, leaving him visibly anxious. He weighed the danger of offending a martial saint just to eliminate a martial master. He gestured thoughtfully and decided there was no point in overthinking it. Proudly declared himself the third disciple under Martial Saint Tan. He stood above the crowd and proclaimed that he had become a master martial artist at 32. Sunset over a futuristic city, the seasoned warrior reflected on becoming a martial saint and founding the Holy Martial Hall. A high-tech panel displayed the resource library's authorization level, while studied the data with a serious expression. He held a glowing sword and grinned, boasting about his impressive achievement. He reflected on his past life and the toll that exhaustion had taken on him as a martial master. He asked and pointed at the screen as the words marital status appeared. That at the computer, intrigued by the mention of spouses. He waved the thought away, worried that it might disturb his peace. Bold red unauthorized warning appeared among floating red envelopes, and his concern deepened. He considered the looming feat above him and the hidden threats in the shadows, deciding they needed to investigate the monster's origins. He reached out with a startled exclamation, caught off guard by what he had found. Glowing text flooded around, overwhelming him with knowledge he could barely process, while a mysterious figure told him to search for specific martial arts scrolls. The glowing tablet revealed the third stage of the immortal golden body cultivation method, and studied it with sharp interest. He considered obtaining strange marrow, hoping it would give him the advantage he needed for the next challenge. The panicked figure clutched a glowing container and begged for help, shouting for it to stay away. Frustrated, chose to move on. An open book lay before, revealing the secrets of a martial technique. He wrestled with the profound idea of unity between heaven and man. He considered the breathing method's benefits, including route recovery and improved cultivation efficiency. A dazzling projection caught his attention as he studied the unique visualization technique. He wondered whether his dream space had been created through willpower projection. A grotesque zombie stood among the ruins, showing him that hunting zombies in dreams allowed him to perfectly inherit their will. Fog closed around as he struggled to reach the elusive truth. He weighed his next move in heavy silence and decided to log out, hoping it would clear his mind. Bright light emerged from the darkness, drawing his attention with its mysterious glow. He activated the glowing panel, determined to uncover its secrets. Holographic displays showed its information, while a dark-haired young woman studied his profile with curiosity. The glowing-eyed figure stared at with urgent intensity, leaving him shocked by the threat before him. The icy figure commanded creation with a force that seemed to resonate through the air. It unleashed a furious blast of energy at the unseen enemy. He struggled with the crystal visualization technique, realizing he could not form a projection through psychic power alone, and wondering whether he lacked psychic feedback. The new world around felt starkly different from the Martial Saint Tower, leaving him hungry and unsettled by how real it seemed. A critical voice complained that the Martial Saint Tower was poorly designed and needed players to help complete it. A shadowed figure revealed the truth of the Martial Saint Tower, saying the dream stage blurred fantasy and reality. He ripped his spear in frustration, knowing he could not complete the task in only a few days. He focused on the mission ahead and declared that his goal for the day was harvesting. He concentrated on the crystal visualization technique, reflecting on his progress and the harsh demands it placed on him. He assessed his targets and understood the weight of challenging grand martial masters. The unknown master struck down, leaving him defeated amid swirling effects as he admitted he needed more strength and abilities. An imposing figure towered over and declared that he had been searching for him, the third will he had his eye on, as braced against the descending foot. He struggled against a large rock, fighting to regain his footing in the chaotic scene. Flames erupted around the martial artist as he unleashed a powerful technique that demanded attention. The determined martial artist launched forward, energy radiating from every movement. He uttered a fierce energy blast, refusing to back down before his adversary. He drove the energy blast toward the enemy with unwavering resolve. He watched the brutal battle and realized how terrifying his opponent's defense was, especially with buffs strengthening the attack. Energy swirled around the martial artist as he called on heroic spirits to inherit their martial master's will. The stern figure criticized for lacking talent and declared that he would always trail one step behind in martial arts. Told his master he would work harder than anyone else. The old man recoiled in shock at the unseen presence. A guard with a large sword delivered disappointing news. The applicant's talent and strength did not meet the city guard standards. He clenched his hands and said he understood, preparing to investigate further. He raised his hand in disbelief, stunned by the unexpected news. The distressed woman urgently confronted, panicking over his decision to join the hunter's team. He smiled and reassured his mother that he would survive and return. A group of men laughed mockingly, treating the person off panel with open contempt. Someone laughed while holding a torn piece of clothing, taking pleasure in his misfortune. The menacing figure taunted, saying he would die at the hands of monstrous foes. He reacted with frustration as he questioned Wei's sudden advancement. He focused on lifting the heavy weight, telling himself he had to become even stronger. Resolved to give others a better chance of survival. The nurse pushed a patient down the hospital corridor, concern etched across her face. He reached toward the doctor with urgent hope, desperate for news. The doctor told the excited man that they had a healthy baby girl, filling the room with joy. He looked shocked and distressed, overwhelmed by the emotions racing through him. He grasped a strong arm and admitted he needed to become stronger to protect them both. The large man reflected on Wei's unexpected transformation into a martial master at 72. A colossal creature erupted from the ground at the military base, spreading chaos and destruction. The enormous creature lunged forward, jaws open wide to strike at. Massive boulder rolled forward, threatening to crush everything as Wei braced himself to protect door number 27. Fought the unseen enemy with unwavering resolve, never retreating even in death. Dark energy swirled around as confusion rose in him, and he wondered whether this was the dummy, Wei. A glowing orb floated before, as he reflected on Wei's martial journey. But the glowing orb as crackling energy swirled around him, explaining that his marshal will sought the title of Ninth Martial Saint, while Wei's will had always been protection. Protective light surrounded, as he realized his purpose was to guard others and everything precious to him. If you'd like to see your favorite titles retold, leave a comment, and I'll be sure to pick some of them up from time to time. Also, let me know which video format you like more, long videos or short ones. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you again soon.